Good evening and welcome to the March 28th meeting of the Board of Trustees for Fort Wayne Community Schools. We'll begin our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll begin with our roll call of members.
Jennifer Mathias, District 2.
Maria Norman, Member at Large.
Raleigh Booker, 4th District.
Noah Smith, 3rd District.
And I am Ann Duff, Member at Large. And to my left is Angela Filler, the Clerk of the Board, and our Superintendent, Dr. Daniel, and Steve Corona and Julie Hollingsworth are not with us this evening. We have a few awards and recognitions before I begin our regular meeting. The first award is the Indiana University Honors Program in Foreign Languages. It is recommended that the board recognize Snyder High School senior Olivia Drew for academic excellence in foreign language. The Indiana University Honors Program in Foreign Languages is a highly regarded study abroad program in the state of Indiana. Olivia qualified through writing an essay in German and being interviewed. She will travel to Graz, Austria for 5 weeks this summer and adhere to a contract that she will speak in German during her entire stay. So Olivia Drew is our student, and Josh Kellenberger is her teacher, and Chad Hissong is the principal. Thank you.
Congratulations, Olivia.
Okay, Maria, the Molecular Medicine in Action Conference.
It is recommended that the board recognize Snyder High School seniors Hannah Makaru and Adeswa, thank you. There, okay. Thank you for being selected to participate in the Molecular Medicine in Action Conference in Indianapolis, Indiana. Molecular Medicine in Action is a conference held at the Indiana School of Medicine campus. Only 50 students in Indiana are selected to attend. Hannah and Adesua had to write an impressive essay to be selected for this prestigious honor. The selected cohort will spend 2 days learning about the latest techniques in molecular biology, cytogenetics, and cancer therapy, including analysis of gene impressions, imaging technology, and the modulation of cancer cell growth. Their teacher is Christina Ely Bales, and Chad Hissong is the principal at Snyder.
Love the official white coat look there.
Sorry I butchered your names. When will you go for the 2 days? Is that a summer thing or already done? Okay.
Already done.
Awesome.
Good job, ladies.
Congratulations.
Okay, next we have the IHSAA State Wrestling Finals.
It is recommended that the board recognize Snyder High School freshman D. Al Capone VC and Northside High School senior Byron Olivia. D. Al Capone VC placed 4th at the IHSAA State Finals in his 182-pound weight class. He is a SAC champion and 2-time gold medalist. Byron Olivia, during his senior year, has a finishing record of 34-4 and holds a school record of being 7th best all-time wrestler in Northside history with a career of 88-14. We have Byron. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, Byron Olivia, Northside, Ethan Hershey, Northside coach, Andrew Klein, Northside athletic director, and Dave West, Northside principal.
Byron, are you going on to Russell in college? Or, no? You're done. You did a fabulous job. Congratulations.
And the Energy Star certification recognitions. Noah.
Oh, okay. Recommend the board recognize 6 additional Fort Wayne Community School buildings for achieving Energy Star certification. Fort Wayne Community Schools has received notification from the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, that 6 additional schools have earned the Energy Star certification. These schools are Frankie Park, Linwood Park, Haley, Shambaugh, St. Joe Central, and Washington Center Elementary. The district now has 29 Energy Star certified schools. Schools that are awarded the Energy Star represent the top 25% of similar buildings nationwide for energy efficiency. They meet strict indoor air quality performance levels set by the EPA and are certified by a professional engineer. Performance Services, Inc. assisted in the application and verification process. Please come forward when your name is called so we can congratulate your school's achievement. Frankie Park Principal Yasmin Youngblatt. Glenwood Park Principal Crystal Bush. Haley Principal. Here comes Dr. Bush. Haley Principal Brian Howard. Shambaugh Principal Neil Rupp. St. Joe Central Principal Suzanne Tiemann. And Washington Center Elementary Principal Keith Goldfuss. And then here also is Darren Hess, who directs all our facilities, and Jim Cotter, Coordinator of Energy Management. I keep wanting to say engineering. Congratulations to you all, and thank you.
So Darren, did you have all these principals change those LED bulbs?
Okay, next comes our consent agenda, which includes the approval of minutes for our March 14th meeting, vouchers and payroll, and our personnel report. Is there a motion on the floor for approval?
So motion.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Second.
Thank you, Maria. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? No, obviously not. I heard you all. Dr. Daniel, did you have anything you wanted to?
Well, I
Pull out.
do. I have a introduction to make. And again, thank you for approving the agenda. So we have tonight Renee Dawson. So Renee, are you here? Yep. So if you'd stand for a second. So Renee she will be our new Director of Transportation, effective May 2nd, 2022. Renee is currently the Director of Transportation for DeKalb County Central United Schools, a position she took in 2012. She previously worked for Fort Wayne Community Schools for 15 years, starting as a substitute bus driver, full-time driver, and as a supervisor of driver operations. She now takes over for Frank Jackson, who has served as FWCS Transportation Director since 2014. Frank will be retiring after 31 years with FWCS. Now, we all know that this job is very, very challenging, and having a person with Renee's experience to move in and actually do this beginning on May 2nd, I think will be an advantage for us. And she has some, having met with Renee, she has some very creative ideas, which we're very excited to see where that will take us. But again, welcome Renee, and thank you for joining Fort Wayne Community Schools.
Thank you. Nice meeting you.
No changing your mind, sit next to Heather, right?
That's all I have. Thank you,
Thank you.
Mrs. President.
We will move on then to our new business. Up first, we have a mental health awareness training grant, Journey to Be Well. It is recommended that the board approve Indiana Department of Education's mental health awareness training grant, Journey to Be Well, for the amount of $21,850. The goal of the grant is to train the educational community on mental health first aid. Reagan Fry, coordinator for mental health supports, will take the course to become the trainer for FWCS. She will begin training SROs, case managers, and administrative assistants this summer. The goal is to continue to push this training out to our school community, parents, teachers, and volunteers over the next 5 years. Mental health first aid is an international education program proven to be effective in teaching adults how to recognize and respond to signs and symptoms of mental health and substance use challenges. It is a skills-based training course to help get people connected to care and ultimately to get them to a better place with a focus on adolescents in crisis. Liz Bryan, Director of Wellbeing and Alternative Placement, will be available to answer questions. Is there a motion on the floor for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Noah. And do we have any questions for Liz?
So Liz, for 75 cents a student roughly, how are we going to cover the whole district, and what are we going to be able to do with this, you think?
So it's primarily a training grant. So similar to like the CPR is on the health side, mental health first aid training. We will partner with the Indiana Department of Education because it always takes 2 people to do a training. And so the goal is just to raise the awareness, take away the stigmatism, and then recognize the signs and then be able to connect them with the resources that they need. So we start slow, and then each year you try to train more people. Bowen is also going to partner with us so we can work with their skills coaches that they have placed in several of our schools as well.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Move on to the digital learning grant application. Maria?
It is recommended that the board approve the application for and acceptance of the Indiana Department of Education's digital learning grant in the amount of $50,000. This grant will provide district technology coordinators with professional learning on creating project-based tasks using universal designs for learning, or UDL. The technology coordinators will use UDL to systematize the development of our FWCS instructional technology scope and sequence. This scope and sequence will provide exemplar project-based lessons that will support and be incorporated into the FWCS curriculum. Additionally, funds will be used to compensate teachers that will help with the development of these exemplar lessons. Shannon Quigley from the district technology coordinator will be available to answer questions.
Thank you. Is there a motion on the floor for approval?
So motion.
Second.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Noah. Any questions?
Will this go throughout all grade levels, or just with the project-based learning more focused on the secondary levels?
Yes, this grant will be for K-12 students. So our scope and sequence is designed to cover K-12 and give an expanse of what those standards look like, all the way from our kindergarten students all the way to our 12th graders.
That's all I have.
Anything else? No. Thank you, Shannon. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. And moving on to Lenovo 300E Chromebooks and ThinkPad P15 G2 laptops. Raleigh?
It is recommended that the board approve the purchase of 1,160 Lenovo 300E Chromebooks and 160 Lenovo ThinkPad P15 G2 laptops from Process of Indianapolis for $708,296. The purchase of these laptops represents a continuation of our student Chromebook deployment in our elementary schools. It will also include the annual purchase of laptops for Wayne New Tech and the initial purchase of laptops for the students at AMP Lab for the 2022-23 school year. FWCS was able to secure pricing that was below General Service Administration pricing. Indiana law does not require public bidding for purchases made at or below GSA pricing. Funding will come from the Common School Fund and the Operations Fund. And Kevin Grubel, Manager of Technology, is here to answer any questions.
Is there a motion on the floor for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Noah. Do we have any questions for Kevin?
I got one, Kevin. So we're getting the laptops for the AMP Lab students. Will that mean they won't get, that's the ones they'll use for their normal day school, like at Wayne or Northside or Snyder or Northfield?
So what we're doing is the students will have their own personal device at their home school. And as they come to the AMP Lab program, the laptops, part of this board rec, is for the specialized program, the Ableton music software, the Adobe Creative Cloud Suite, and things like that that require a little more horsepower in the laptop.
So those kids will have 2 laptops then?
The higher-end laptops here will not leave the AMP Lab facility.
Okay.
So it'll be used just during their duration of the time there.
Thank you.
Anything else? Thank you, Kevin. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, digital copier program renewal. Noah.
Recommend the board approve a 5-year renewal contract for the district-wide copier program for the period of July 1, 2022 to June 30, 2027 with Conoco Minolta of Indianapolis. The 5-year renewal is based on the current contract that was approved in 2017 after a competitive request for proposals process was completed. The new contract will be financed through a 5-year municipal lease on a cost per impression basis and includes equipment, software maintenance, and all supplies except paper. 126 existing convenience copiers will be replaced, 189 existing convenience copiers, 3 production copiers and printing services, and 1 in technology will be kept due to low volume levels and are expected to perform satisfactorily throughout the renewal period. Total annual cost is estimated to be $776,317. Funding will come from the Education Fund for School Copiers and Operations Fund for non-school units. Ron Rathage, Director of Purchasing Services, is here to answer questions. And to be clear, our cost is per usage, and so there's different cost metrics based on monochrome color and monochrome production and color in production.
Thank you, Noah. Is there a motion on the floor for approval?
I move approval.
Second.
Thank you, Relly. Thank you, Maria. Any questions for Rod?
Yeah, Rod, I saw some schools have issues getting toner. Are there going to be issues getting toner for the foreseeable future, or?
No, that problem is being resolved. They have started shipping out on a regular basis. It was on one model, the 808, which is our higher speed convenience copiers, and there was a fire in Japan at their facility, so it took them a while to catch back up, but we're back on track, and that should not be a problem at all.
Great.
Have you seen the copy usage go down with our implementation of our technology and
Yes, it's dropped dramatically over the years. That's one of the reasons why these copiers still have a lot of life left in them. I based this new contract, I looked at 2019, which was our last most normal year since the pandemic. But, I looked at just, for example, went back 10 years, 2011, and we were doing 87 million images a year. And last year we did a little over 40. 40.
40 million, so
40.
half.
So it's about half. And I think it's kind of stabilized somewhat now that we're, a lot more digital access, the learning management system, that's all been in place. And it was in 2018 where the numbers really started dropping when all that came into play. So.
Anything else for Rod? Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. electrical PPI project. It is recommended that the board approve the following construction contract for the electrical physical plant improvements, PPI, project. From Kissinger Electric, the base bid is $303,640. And an alternate at Northside for common lighting and for Southside High School auditorium house lighting for a total contract of $485,095. This project consists of interior lighting replacements at Northside and Southside High Schools, fire alarm installation at Southside Jack Weicker Stadium, and a generator upgrade at Southside. Primary engineering designed the project. The project is funded from the operations fund, which is identified in the capital projects plan. This recommendation is within the project budget. The project specifications require the work to be completed by August 5th, 2022. And Darren Hess will be available to answer any questions. Is there a motion on the floor for approval?
Move for approval.
Second.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Raleigh. And do we have any questions for Darren? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, and Maria, General Building Systems 2.
It is recommended that the board approve the following construction contracts for General Building Systems 2, or GBS 2. This contract goes to CME Corporation for a total contract of $362,300. This project includes door system replacements at 12 buildings. Kelty Tappy designed the project, and the project is funded from the operations fund and is identified in the capital projects plan. This recommendation is within project budget. Project specifications require the work be completed by July 28, 2022. And Darren is here to answer any questions that we have.
Thank you. Is there a motion on the floor for approval?
So motion.
Second.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Noah. And any questions for Darren? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, contract amendment for construction manager as constructor, CMC, for the addition to Abbott Elementary, and that is Raleigh.
It is recommended that the board approve this first contract amendment with FCI Construction as part of the construction manager as constructor, CMC, contract for the addition to Abbott Elementary School previously approved on October 25th, 2021. This represents the first amendment of two. So there are several bid packages in here for an amendment amount of $2,974,233.08 for an amended contract amount of $3,014,233.08. It is also recommended that the board approve the following construction contract for temperature controls that goes to Automated Logic for a contract amount of $47,894. The addition to Abbott Elementary School consists of a 6-classroom building addition to house preschool and kindergarten and to reallocate existing classrooms within the building to adequately house a 4-section elementary. The contract procurement method for this project is CMC for publicly funded projects as allowable for IC 5-32. This amendment represents all but 2 construction bid packages. Additional recommendations for the remaining construction work items, bid package 9, structural steel erection, and bid package 19, mechanical, will be presented at a later date along with the establishment of a final overall guaranteed maximum price for this project. This package will be funded from elementary and secondary emergency relief funds, and Darren is here to answer questions.
Thank you. Is there a motion on the floor for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Noah. And do we have any questions for Darren?
This is just the cost of the contract for FCI. This isn't what cost to build it, is it?
Yeah, this is the cost to build out the project with the exception of the cost for steel
Mechanicals.
erection and the mechanical parts.
Okay. We're getting 6 classrooms for about $3 million.
Correct.
Thank you.
Anything else? Thank you, Darren. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, and no, the Bill C. Anthus Center Dock Replacement and Waterproofing Project.
It is recommended the board approve the following construction contract for the Bill C. Anthus Center Dock Replacement and Waterproofing Project. CME Corporation was the proposed winning bidder for the base bid of $318,000 and adding new traffic and coating waterproofing for $21,000 for a total of $339,000. This project includes the replacement of the existing dock, waterproofing, and masonry repairs at the Bill C. Anthus Center. Martin Riley Architect Engineers designed the project. The project is funded from the Operations Fund as identified in the Capital Projects Plan. This recommendation is within the program budget. Program specifications require the work to be completed by August 5th, 2022, and Darren's here again to answer any questions.
Thank you. Is there a motion on the floor for approval?
All motion.
Thank you, Noah.
Second.
Thank you, Raleigh. Any questions for Darren? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Report of the 2021 gifts, grants, and donations. It is recommended that the attached list, which you guys have in your packet, of gifts, grants, and donations be officially accepted by the board. Throughout the school year, various schools receive gifts and donations from individual organizations and businesses. Authorization to receive gifts is a board function. The State Board of Accounts has agreed that a listing of all gifts received during any one year and ratified by the board would meet audit requirements. The listing of gifts, grants, and donations is submitted by various sport and community school unit heads for 2021. A detailed report is on file in the business office. Unit heads are encouraged to express appropriate appreciation for any and all gifts received. Kathy Friend will be available to answer any questions. Is a motion on the floor for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Jennifer. Any questions for Kathy? I know we had a big list, and it was very obvious that there were a lot of partnerships and a lot of donors with our schools. We have a lot of PTAs that give money for teachers and for various activities for students. A lot of churches donated, individuals, organizations like Rotary. So we really appreciate all the monetary gifts that come into our schools and the partnerships that we have formed with many of these different organizations and churches and that type of thing. Did anybody notice anything that sticks out to them? I read the list like a
I'm
week ago.
gonna call out the most unique name I see, the Hakuna Matata Fund. Thank you to, what's that movie, Lion King?
Yes, the Lion King. I think they're really
Very generous donation to Adams Elementary. And I'd echo Ann's comments, very, very generous community Fort Wayne is, and organizations and individuals. Greatly appreciated and needed in our schools.
Absolutely. So all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. I am moving on. Report of the 2021 extracurricular account equipment purchases. Maria.
It is recommended that the attached report of equipment purchases be officially accepted by the board. Equipment purchases, including equipment reconditioning over $500 from extracurricular funds, are subject to approval by the Board of School Trustees. The State Board of Accounts has agreed that these purchases and reconditioning may be accepted annually. Attached is the report as submitted by FWCS unit heads for 2021. Kathy Friend will be available to answer any questions.
Thank you, Maria. Is there a motion on the floor for approval?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Raleigh. And do we have any questions for Kathy? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, and Raleigh, the approval of the revised bylaws, 1112 and 167.2.
The Policy Committee recommends approval of the updated district goals and a policy outlining electronic participation at school board meetings by members. Ann Duff, Raleigh Booker, and Jennifer Mathias sit on the Policy Committee, as well as Deborah Faye Williams-Robbins and David Amon. The committee recommends amending the language of Bylaw 112, Goals for Goal 2, and adding a fourth goal related to recruitment and retention of staff. Additionally, because HEA 1437 amended the Indiana Open Door Law to allow school board members to participate in meetings electronically, the Policy Committee is recommending the adoption of a policy and procedure to allow electronic participation at meetings. Bylaw 167.2, the FWCS provided a red line copy of the bylaws to the board in advance of the meeting. The bylaws and policies will be available to the public on the FWCS website. Questions will be addressed by David Ahmed.
Thank you, Raleigh. Is there a motion on the floor for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Noah. Do we have any questions? I know that sometimes we have somebody on the phone, but we have two people absent, and nobody on the phone because we are no longer in our state of emergency, so we cannot have anybody on the phone. But once we have this approved, then we can have someone on the phone or on Zoom to join us in our meetings. So that's part of the policy that we approved. So,
So is it accurate they would not be allowed to vote? Is that right?
if they are on the phone, they cannot vote, but if they are on Zoom and we can see them and the audience can see them, then they can vote. Is that
We
correct?
have to be able to see and hear.
See and hear.
Thank you. Any other functional changes to our normal board meeting with these changes?
That's what we just discussed is pretty much the basics of that.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think that pretty much covers everything. You can look in the red line versions that we gave you for some of the more specific rules about the number of meetings that you can attend virtually, and how you can only attend, for example, 2 in a row before you have to appear in person. So, and there are certain prohibited actions that you can't take virtually as well.
Thank you.
And then the recent laws regarding our meetings have not been, they don't go into effect until July 1st, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
So we'll revisit those specific ones then, or after that?
Yep, if we needed to make any changes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, and that ends our business portion of our meeting. So now we have a facilities update. Darren Hess, Director of Facilities, and Heather Krebs, Coordinator of Program Controls, will be doing a presentation to give a Facilities Department update on the following programs and projects: maintenance and operations, energy leadership, capital projects, FWCS repair program, and our ESSER projects. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, President Duff, members of the board, Dr. Daniel. It's an excitement for my team to share with you our progress of our programs and our projects. We'll try to go through 5 main items tonight. Our normal maintenance and operations, our physical repair of our facilities, energy leadership, which we already talked about with our award tonight with Energy Star, our capital projects, which are cyclical programs like our roof replacements, and then our repair program, which has our referendum projects, and finally, an update with the ESSER-funded projects. So our maintenance and operations, they are part of facilities. Within maintenance and operations, they are responsible for over 5.5 million square feet of buildings that have an average age of 62 years old. Again, we talked about 4 million square feet of roofing and parking lots each that they're very cyclical in nature with the maintenance of them. So we do have to put forward a certain amount of the budget for these repairs. They consist of skilled craftsmen that are electricians, mechanical maintenance, general maintenance, plumbers, grounds, administrative support staff, manager, and supervisors. They are led by the handsome gentleman there on the screen. That's Pete Smith. He is our manager of maintenance and operations. At the bottom in blue, it is interesting to note that we complete over 13,000 work orders a year. Some of those might be just fixing a lock, but some of them may be helping out a contractor repair a storm sewer at Adams or something like that. So there are difference in durations, but 13,000 work orders per year. On our energy leadership, we have with us tonight Jim Cotter. He is our energy coordinator, along with Jonathan Malcolm, who is our auditor in the evenings. Again, energy leadership is behavioral based for the most part. But Jim is very crucial to the team. He meets with all of our coordinators, with our architects and engineers, and he's always that little fly in the back of the room that always says, hey, what about this, what about this, to look for energy savings in any project that we do. So part of this is the physical energy savings of projects, but for the most part, it's behavioral based. On this behavioral, it's been 10 years now, so since 2012, and to know $18 million in cost avoidance over those 10 years. What's significant of that 18 million, that's dollars that go back into the classroom to help with the energy or with the learning environment on the education side. And on bottom there, again, we have 29 Energy Star certified schools now, in the addition of the 6 that we had earlier. Key on that is the top 25% performing buildings in the nation, and we are almost at 50%, so doing much better than our peers.
What are the biggest behavioral changes that can be made to help drive that?
It could be as simple as turning off your computer at the end of the day, when you leave your office for an hour meeting, to turn off the lights, or when I'm walk through a building and I see a room without anybody in it and there's lights are on, I kick the lights off. So it's things like that it's just behavioral, but if you take that times the thousands of employees that we have, it adds up over 10 years. Next, we'll go into our operations fund and our capital projects. Kathy always reports on our budget every fall, and this is a portion of it. So you've seen this slide before. This is how we spend those annual dollars in I call it the Wayne General Blue to the right, the biggest piece of the pie. That's about $7 million. Those are some of the projects we brought to you tonight with the electrical PPI, the GBS. These are the cyclical type nature projects that we have to do on an annual basis just to maintain our schools. The second largest piece of the pie there goes towards our maintenance and operations group. So that's our daily repairs, buying replacement faucets, buying replacement compressors and chillers, but it also goes towards our service contracts for elevator inspections and things like that to keep us in regulations. The orange pie is our school sports facilities. Again, we are limited to 2.7% of our operations fund, our property tax revenue. With that fund, over the next 3 years, we have identified replacing turf at Wayne, South Side, and North Side. And then at the bottom, our annual CPP plan is just under $16.5 million. So this is the dollars that we have on an annual basis through our local property tax to do projects. The next, we talk about a repair program. So that is our bond, our referendum dollars. So these are dollars that are outside of our property tax that were approved by 3 referendums. Phase 1, 2012, which we are complete. We're doing a summary today of Phase 2, which is the 2016, and then we'll update you on 2020, Repair 2020. But starting in 2012 with the first referendum, we came up with this acronym of REPAIR. It is an actual acronym for Renewal of Educational Properties with Appropriate Investment and Repair. To further this, we always have these in mind, these 6 bullets. Overall goal is to provide that overall better learning environment for our students. Ways which we can do that, we are replacing infrastructure that has reached the end of its useful life, key electrical, HVAC type components. With that, we're going to eliminate substandard environmental conditions, the lighting, the temperature, indoor air quality. Looking at any way we can increase the safety for our students and for our staff. And then when we're working on these projects, if we have an opportunity, let's look at increasing the overall efficiency of the buildings and decrease our energy use. With that, we're able to put monies back in the classroom and then to other brick and mortar projects. And then a key component of this is to maintain that roof replacement schedule. If the roof leaks, you can't educate. So on the repair phase 2, I mentioned a couple of months ago, we're scraping the bottom of the barrel. We're getting pretty close. We have already approved east side improvements at Northrop High School. To remind you, that is the exit onto Coldwater in conjunction with the city, where they're redoing the Ludwig Coldwater intersection. This will provide a new entrance and some drive changes within our parking lot to the south of the property, but then I'll have a signal. The light is, the city is providing a signal traffic light at our exit, which will help that traffic flow quite a bit. We also approved Lane and Shawnee middle schools to have parent pickups. We tried to bring you recommendations for middle schools for Northwood and Portage, but we had actually no bids on the project. So they're designed. We shelved them. We're going to go out for next year. Give us, our contractors, a little more time to ready those projects to help a little more competitive bidding. But that's to support our B instrumental program with some enhanced music rooms, band rooms. We have 5 schools that we are going to complete some lighting and corridor improvements in to make them brighter. And we have some additional reserve budget for those items that we always go back. We're just finishing up Waynedale and Lindley after this summer, and we finished up Shawnee and Price last summer. So this allows us to go in and do some masonry restoration and some terrazzo refinishing.
So those middle 2 bullet points of lighting and corridor improvements and pickup lanes, were those not bid as well?
The pickup lanes at Scott Academy and South Wayne were not bid as well, correct. So we'll be bidding those next year, and the Scott will be with the large project that we'll bring forward later this summer.
And is that a function, do you believe, of just there's not enough supply or demand, or is it just?
We did not bid those currently, so we were already planning to bid those for 2023 construction.
Oh, you chose not to put them out?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, they were always originally going to be in 2023.
Okay.
So this is the financial piece of it. As you can see, that yellow ring is 95% or 90% of the awarded contract that's already been completed. We have 95% of our allocated funds already identified and awarded. And we talk about the balance of just under $4 million for those projects outstanding. So like I said, we don't have a lot left in that account, but we will be coming back with a couple of recommendations here in the future.
And total, that's about 125 million?
129.
129?
Yes.
And I'm going to estimate that most of the contracts went to local companies like our normal process?
Yes. Yes, very, very high local participation.
So money back into the community?
Yes. So Repair 2020 program, that was approved June 2020. That is a budget of $130 million. Key renovations are only 3 on this phase, this go around. Wayne High School, which was approved the last board meeting, Blackhawk and Miami Middle Schools. Due to the current market condition, we have kind of paused a little bit on putting Blackhawk and Miami out right now. We're going to wait and see how the market turns here, hopefully normalizes over the next year before we move forward with the Blackhawk renovation. We have additions at Scott Academy and Franke Park. Also to note, because of the bidding climate, our intent originally was to have some partial renovations to Scott Academy in the existing building, but due to the market currently, we're only recommending in our design to complete the addition, and then we'll have to come back later and do the renovation of the existing half. We have corridor and lighting improvements at Anthus and Tolles. 15 buildings will receive ADA accessibility improvements, and this primarily is elevator and lift modifications. We approved last time Southside, Natatorium, and Memorial Park. We have revenue replacements at 3 buildings, which we're actually going to talk about later with ESSER. We're going to be able to fund those through ESSER to free up some money in this to help out with some of the overages. We are complete with the temperature control replacement at Southside last year. We have a few roof replacements that we're currently undergoing for those 21 buildings. And then we have entrance and security improvements at 10 buildings. We're currently working at Washington now and in design at Forest Park and Adams, and looking at Young Elementary next. So this is just a little more detail that actually lists all the schools and the amounts that we have set aside for these projects. But the short and sweet of it is we have, of those projects on the financial side, we haven't awarded many yet, and we'll get to that here shortly. But with that, I do want to share some of these renderings. This is Wayne High School. It's currently under construction. We just started last week with Hagerman. Our design consultant is Design Collaborative. And we look to be complete for the 24-25 school year. During the next 3 years, we're going to be taking sections of the building aside and constructing them while we're still occupying. At the top there is a rendering of our new office, a little different than Northrop, where at Northrop we had to add an office out front. At Wayne, we had the opportunity to look within the building and optimize space so that we were able to not do an addition, but and I'll show you here on a site plan with the campus of where that's located. The bottom left is our new created central hub, is where the traditional media center is, with the grand staircase to help out with some circulation. And then the bottom right is just a rendering of the gym field house after it's complete. So if you're looking at the overall campus, the parking lot would be to the bottom or the south, the large parking lot. Traditionally, you would come in, I don't know if this laser is going to work, right there to door 1, which is a central commons. That's still going to be the main student entrance. It's still going to be this main visitor entrance for plays and for ball games, after school events. But the pink to the top right there where that loop is, kind of hard to see with the laser, sorry. That will be our new student, or our main entrance. So if you think about it, 95% of people that come in and out of the day during the day, your mailman, your U.S. Post, FedEx, a parent dropping something off for a student, they do their business right there and then walk back out. So there's a small little visitor parking lot there for access. Go ahead, Ann.
So I was just going to ask, you can drive your car there?
Correct, yeah. There'll be a small visitor lot with the intent of that's just do a small transaction and leave. We'll obviously have case conferences and things of that nature, but it won't be where someone parks all day.
At least you eliminate that long walk.
Yeah. It's part of our wellness program.
Is that the buses drop off then too?
The buses are to the south of it. The existing parking lot will remain the same, the existing parent pickup, the bus. This just is a small loop off of that circles up to that existing 2-story academic wing to get you a little closer to the office.
So can you say me once again, where will the students who are driving to school enter?
There at the bottom of the picture there, you can kind of see in the very light gray, that's the existing parking lot.
Okay.
So it should, circulation won't change for the majority of people, the staff and the visitors, with the exception of a short-term visit. In the yellow, that's kind of a reorganized and expanded new tech, and it'll have its own secure entrance as well. We have to the top of that in the darker blue, that's going to be an expanded athletic area with a weight room that will receive new weight equipment, just like the other 4 schools that we approved, and they received new weight equipment over Christmas break.
And Darren, why did we go with this side entrance versus what we did at Northrop?
Save budget.
Okay.
That was part of the experience we had with our construction manager. So when we were talking about options and ideas, we were able to have them estimate it right there on the fly so that we could see this option is going to cost $3.5 million more or be an even. So Wayne, we just had the opportunity to optimize some space that we had space within the existing building, so we might as well use it.
I don't know what I'm going to do if Wayne and Northrop don't look alike.
Well, it was also intentional. We wanted Wayne and Northrop to look different because they are different schools, different cultures, different programs. So on the second floor, we have some open collaboration spaces. We have some shared science labs and classrooms, an area for early college. And just better utilization. A lot of study went through the last 9 months with the architects and John Hauser and his team to really provide this renovation, so it serves the staff and students for the next 40 years to come. We touched base on Washington Elementary is currently receiving its new ADA lift and secure entrance that just started. We're finished with design at Forest Park and Adams. We have about 5% to go, and we're going to rebid those this fall with work to start in '23. And then we just added Young Elementary with the hopes that we can do that work in 2023 as well.
So Forest Park and Adams are not going right now?
Forest Park and Adams are currently designed, but we are planning to bid those later this year with construction to begin next spring break. This is a rendering of the new entrance to Scott Academy. Just a second, I'll show you a site plan there of the campus of what changes will be happening there. Our design consultant is Elevatus Architecture. Our constructor manager is Wygand Construction. And we're looking to have this complete December of 2023 with the hopes of 23-24 fall start. This is a significant project. We are going to double the size of the building. So to the north there in the light gray, that is the existing footprint. The addition is in the cyan light blue that will provide enough classrooms for a fully functioning 5-section school, which you heard in our demographic study is needed in the south part of town is these additional classrooms. In addition to these classrooms, we'll have a second pre-K. To the right there will be expanded parking. To the left, off of Wilson, which is to the south, will be a new parent pickup lane with stacking to get them off of Fairfax, which is the northern border that blocks every day if you try to go down Fairfax. So this work is going to happen over the next 18 months.
And this is from ESSER dollars, not from the referendum dollars?
This is for Repair 2020.
Oh, this, okay.
Yeah, this is referendum dollars.
That new entrance looks amazing.
Yeah, so right there, like where that little kick is out by the parking lot, that will be the new entrance coming in, which will open up into the common area, which ties into the cafeteria and also the media center. So it'll be a nice hub for visitors when they come in, a nice aesthetics.
So I'm sorry, to be clear, we're moving ahead with the addition with the referendum dollars, it's not the remodeling to the existing?
Correct. So originally in 2019, we put the budgets together and we're starting the marketing for the 2020 referendum. We also intended to go up into the existing building and renovate portions of it as required. With the budgets that we're getting, or the estimates that we're getting back now, we're going to stay south of that addition line, and we're going to have to eventually do something at the existing building. We've already placed windows. We've done a lot of flooring. So it's a not dire need, but it would have been nice to make the buildings look cohesive. We're just going to have to wait a little while until we have funding available to do that.
So out of curiosity, and I'm sure this is bad timing to ask this question with the current inflation trends, at what point do you look at just scrapping a whole building altogether and building new?
We always look at that. In the first phase, in particular, we did a pretty extensive study on Snyder High School, for example. And we're in a little bit different situation than a smaller school district where we have those, 60 facilities, where if I spend another $12 million on a high school to build new, I'm not able to renovate 2 elementaries. So, a lot of that we looked at trying to spread the dollars as far as we can, knowing that we still have that renovation to go. We have not touched really Northwood. We have not touched Holland. We have not touched, I have a whole inventory list of buildings that weren't included in the first, 2 renovations, repair renovations. So, unfortunately, we do look at that. South Wayne, it was another program. If we tore that down and built new, it still costs more to build new. So this is the financial piece of it. As you can see there, only less than 40% of the original budget has been awarded. 3% of the work is complete. The The big portion of that 40% of the original budget is Wayne. That was approved last, board meeting. We will have multiple bond issues that we take out throughout the duration of the referendum to fund the project. But short and sweet of this, we haven't completed a lot of the work yet for Repair 2020. And like I had mentioned earlier with Blackhawk, with the rush of ESSER dollars and with the market conditions, we're pausing a little bit on the referendum side to see how things normalize out.
Do we have a timeline for this in 2016 to spend it in?
We're looking at 6 to 8 years overall with our funding outlook to stay within our, because we have to pay pay for all these bonds over a 20-year period. So it was originally already identified to take 6 to 8 years, not 4 years like the first two bonds. So it was already intentional to be a little longer. So that leaves us with our ESSER projects. We have, and I apologize, I went too fast on the bond projects to introduce my team. So on the bond side, I thank Heather Krebs, number one, for putting this presentation together and all of our figures and calculations, so I appreciate that. But we have Heather Krebs, who is our coordinator of program controls. We have Zach Evans, Josh Summers, and Kevin Grady, who are our capital coordinators on the bond. And to skip further before that, we have John Hudson and Jade Steffen, who is our capital project coordinators for those cyclical annual project PPI projects. And then our last introduction is Travis Searles. He's our newest member of the team, and he is coordinating our ESSER projects. And we had someone that actually worked for my team during phase 1 and worked on the Snyder Memorial projects. He's now working for an architect, but he has graciously agreed to contract with us to help us with ESSER. So we have 2 ESSER coordinators working on projects. I'm going to be intentional with this because this was our guidelines for projects to choose to do facility projects out of ESSERs. So the first bullet is to school facility repairs and improvements to enable operation of schools to reduce the risk of virus transmission and exposure to environmental health hazards to support student health needs. The inspection, testing, maintenance, repair, replacement, upgrade projects to improve the indoor air quality in school facilities, including mechanical and non-mechanical heating, ventilation, air conditioned systems, filtering, purification, other air cleaning, fans, control systems, and window and door replacements. And then lastly, planning for coordinating and implementing activities during long-term closures, including providing meals to eligible students. So with these 3 bullets, we came up with some projects.
So was there a percentage of our total ESSER that we had to go into these?
There was not a percentage that had to go towards facilities, but there was a portion, 20% of the ESSER 3 that had to go towards classroom.
Thank you.
So the first one item there, spread over 22 buildings, is a flooring project to replace asbestos and mercury containing flooring. This is reducing that hazardous material potential. Window replacements, we're doing partial and full replacements at 11 buildings. The needlepoint ionization air filtering, you guys approved phase 1 of that a while ago. Our first sample was at our office clinics. We were very slow to do this because we wanted to make sure improve the science. So Jim Cotter has been gracious enough to go out and test these for CO2 and for other microorganisms that are bad, airborne, and all of them passed and actually showed improvements to the air quality. So we will be coming at the next board meeting in April with a recommendation to expand this, to also include it on some other high-use air handlers. Think of areas like cafeterias, locker rooms, areas where we have multiple kids coming throughout the day and passing. So that'll help.
You can get rid of the locker room stink?
This is for the micro, it will help because some of it does have the smells, but I don't think we'll get rid of the stink.
That'll be impressive.
And then the last 2 bullet items, it's a large portion of the funding, over $40 million, and that's to do with a lot of HVAC type equipment that we've been coming, all the Anthus air handlers, the univents in several buildings, relief and exhaust fans, and other standalone air handlers. This will give us an opportunity to really improve improve our ventilation systems. We are also reconfiguring the classroom areas, the open concept at Arlington and Lincoln. We have already completed some retro commissioning to make sure the programs that we have in place with our HVAC equipment actually is doing the job. So we went back and reconfirmed and tweaked those. We talked about the Abbott Elementary Classroom Addition. Thank you for approving that tonight. That will give us a 6-classroom building to adequately provide a 4-section school for that building, so they're not teaching in the cafeteria. And currently, we're about 30% complete with the Nutrition Center freezer and dry storage expansion. This will allow Becky to provide additional menu choices when she doesn't receive a truck. It also gives her an opportunity. She's finding out that if you order a third of a truck, they won't send it unless you order a whole truck. So this will give her some more flexibility in what she can store and make meals out of. At the bottom there, it is good to note that roughly 68% of our nearly $75 million out of the ESSER for facilities will go towards HVAC ventilation-related projects. This will help alleviate some of the overruns that we have on Repair 2020 because we can utilize the HVAC type funding like we were going to do at Wayne with ESSER dollars. And it will help also with our future CPP dollars because we can do less towards HVAC and maybe more towards plumbing and more towards other things that we're falling behind in. So it is a godsend, and we are struggling to complete the work. We have my team has a very big task at hand because, as you can see, this is our financial part of it. 7% of the work has been completed. But we have almost 80% of the budget been awarded already by you guys. So the contracts are out there. We're struggling getting equipment. We're in the same boat as every other school district in the nation that is utilizing these dollars towards some facilities. So exhaust fans, air handlers, relief fans, they are hard to come by. But we are on the phone weekly with our vendors, seeing where they're at and hoping that once they get here, we've got plan C, D, E, and F in play. But I just wanted to share that with you, that 80% of it has been awarded. These are some glamorous pictures of what we're doing with the dollars. This is an example of some exhaust fans and relief fans that up on the roof you sometimes forget about. But they are very key to HVAC systems and how they operate. Without proper exhaust and proper relief, it doesn't matter what kind of equipment you have bringing in fresh air. If you can't relieve it or exhaust it, you're not getting your air exchanges. And that's very key to this program. In the middle there is the existing Arlington and Lincoln floor plan, the central part. The original part of those buildings are open concept. Look to the right in the expanded, you see individual classrooms with doors. This will help mitigate the airborne transmission of any type of viruses, so that's why it's allowable for ESSER. That work has started and will be complete August 2023. Abbott Elementary is building 3 classrooms on the first floor and 3 classrooms on the second floor. Again, that work is just going to begin and will be complete July 2023. With that, I'll take questions.
I'll jump in. I got a few. Could you go back to the slide with the $74 million? And then how much of that $74 million is how much total ESSER dollars do we get?
So for ESSER 2 and 3, which is where these projects are coming from, we got about $145 million. So good 50% of it is being spent on projects.
And then what about the other?
I think the first one was, I want to
Well, I
say
guess what are we going to do with the other $75 million then? That's we put back into salaries and teachers and stuff like that?
Yeah, yeah. We have hired staff, mostly staff. Beyond that, we bought some technology, summer school. You know, we're trying to do, the purpose of the money is to provide ways to improve the achievement gap that occurred during coronavirus. So that's where we're targeting with the staff that we've hired and with interventions that we're doing.
Okay, and then, can you go to the next slide, I think? So we got 80% of the budget has been awarded. Does that mean we've already approved it?
Yes,
Okay, so we only got 20% to go.
that's correct.
And then 2024 is our timeline. Do we have to like have it spent by then or approved by then?
Spent by September 2024, and on Esther 2, it's actually in 2023. So we're under the gun to get them done, so that's why my team's over there.
Okay. And then, if we go way back to the referendum dollars, you had down that we're doing 21 roofs in the referendum dollars. What, in our budget for normal repairs and construction is about 17 million? It's like we're 16.9 and change. So does this put us ahead of our roof cycle by using referendum dollars, or are we just?
Yes, that's key. When I went back to the founding bullet points of what we have for the program was always to have an element of replacement schedule, because it's, well, roofing went up 50% this year, but typically the need is about $4 million a year just to stay on schedule. And we only budget about two and a half a year. So there's always a need to catch up on that plan. So I think any referendum dollars will always have some component of roof replacement in it, just because it's such a large portion of our budget.
So we don't have enough in our budget each year to cover our roof plan?
We could if we allocated it that way, but then other items would suffer. We would do less electrical or less GBS or something of that nature.
So does that mean that we'll have a need continuously for a referendum type request?
I believe so, yes. With the buildings that we have and the age of we have, there will always be a function of outside of capital dollars that we will have to ask the community to help with. And that's just how it is in the state of Indiana.
I think that's all I have.
All right, anybody else? Thank you, Darren.
I just want to say good job. When I saw that we had 6 new buildings that were energy certified, I was kind of excited about that. So just kudos to your team. I know all of the work that you're doing is very hard, but the buildings, when I tour them, are so nice and the students are so excited. Everything's new and shiny. So yeah, I'm really proud of all the buildings that I've gone in and seen the improvements, and just really excited that the community sort of supported those projects so that we could get that done, because they all look great. And keep on saving energy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
It's nice to
thank
see
you.
what we've done and where we're going, and we appreciate the time.
Thank you to the team, too. We know Darren gets all the high praise, but we know who does the heavy lifting, right?
All right, we're ready for board comments.
I'm just going to keep it short, but we've got 4 more days to make it to a break, which I think that everybody in this room and everybody in our schools, including everyone, teachers, students, after everyone, bus drivers, you name it, I think that everybody's ready for a little break, and then hopefully when we come back, we'll have a little spring weather that stays around with us instead of the 12 degrees that it felt like today. Lift our spirits a little bit and continue through the rest of the year. And I just want to say thank you for everybody who's worked so hard this year to keep our doors open, keep our kids in school, and keep continuing to grow and learn. So thank you.
I would just like to say thank you to all of the teachers and administrators. On Saturday, for almost 4 hours, attended my first robotics competition, which was absolutely amazing. I didn't know what to expect, it being my first robotics thing, so I took books and a laptop and, but I literally didn't get either of those things out because it was so awesome. But I mean, there were teachers, the principal was there, and I know that this is happening at multiple schools. And so just thank you to the staff that give of their time so generously to allow our students to have these opportunities. So yeah, that's all we got.
All right. Raleigh?
I had the opportunity to spend the day at Abbott Elementary last week, so I just wanted to thank all of the staff and the teachers who kind of helped me get acclimated to being in the classroom with some students, and I look forward to visiting other schools in that capacity.
Wait, so you were subbing too?
I did, yes. I'm sorry, I missed that part. Yes, I've joined the ranks of Noah and in the classroom. So it's a really amazing experience, and I look forward to getting into more schools.
I want to congratulate Snyder's Winter Guard for 2022 season. They won the state championship this year, just this last weekend, so that was pretty exciting around our community in the northeast part of Fort Wayne. And just echo what Jennifer said, have everybody have a spring break, come back recharged and relaxed, and finish strong for the school year. Thank you.
Dr. Daniel?
So April 20th, we'll be having our Ideal Graduate Workshop, and again, wanting to know what Fort Wayne as a community believes our ideal graduate should be. So what's that graduate look on the day after graduation? And reverse engineering that all the way back down to kindergarten. And again, how do we ensure that we have a culture and a climate where we truly have a learning environment and it's supportive of what our community needs for future employees. So very excited about that. There are invitations that have gone out. And again, sorry, we do have to limit that to about 300 participants. But again, we're looking at what does this mean for our entire community, driving that into our classrooms. So, and then moving that forward. Probably won't see this in full motion until probably about a year. It'll take us a year of planning as we move that into what we'll be doing with, say, our advisee programs and so on and so forth. But very excited about this. So April 20th.
All right, on the calendar. I had a busy day for what I normally do. Didn't even get to walk the dog but one time. But like Raleigh said, we've all been subbing, but I think I've chosen the better subbing position. I'm a classroom assistant, so I get little kindergartners who love me and are thrilled to see me. So I've been at I'm going to do South Wayne every Monday as a classroom assistant sub. So I look forward to that in my day. And then, so I was there this morning till 2, and then after that I went to Maplewood to visit their tech club. So that was really interesting to watch the kids. I didn't write down what the system they were using, but it's some kind of a CAD system they're using to design. Right now they're designing a, it's kind of like just a centerpiece with, that incorporates the technology club and different aspects of Maplewood. So they have a picture of themselves that are in the background of the technology club, and then they have different emblems. They had something that symbolized caring. They had a maple leaf, the technology club logo, the Fort Wayne Community Schools logo, and they created this 3D object on their laptops. And then the exciting part is that the next time they meet, I believe on Wednesday, they'll pick the design that they want to make official, and then they will get a 3D printer and set that in the hallway and print out this design, which will take probably a couple of days to print out. But that'll be really exciting for the kids to see the machine printing and creating that object. And that, when they go by it the next time, it's going to look a little bit different and a little bit different. So that'll be really fun for them. There was 3 adults, Mr. Herbert, Mr. Hess, and Mrs. Phillips were all part of the technology club, and probably about 8 students or so. So that was fun to visit and get to see what they're doing, and learning maybe a life skill, or learning a career field they want to go into or something like that, or maybe a career field they don't want to go into. It's always good to explore. So I really appreciate them inviting me to that club this afternoon. And I also, our last board meeting, we talked about the legislative session, and I had written in my notes to give a shout out to ISTA as well as FWEA for their efforts in fighting some of the bad legislation that was out there, the bad bills that were out there, and filling up that State House for 2 weeks. They did a really great job, and I know that all of us follow their leadership. Look on their website and their Facebook page to know what bill we need to write our legislators about and things like that. And then also I wanted to give a shout out to Indiana Coalition for Public Education. That's another one that all of us look at. They're based in Indy, but there's a few outlying organizations under that umbrella throughout the state. So I just wanted to give a shout out to them for their guidance, as well as we write our legislators and follow the bills and things that are happening at the State House. So didn't want to forget them. So we have spring break next week, so our next board meeting is on Monday, April 25th, so we won't see you till another month. So is there a motion on the floor to adjourn?
Move we adjourn.
Second.
Thank you, Noah. Thank you, Maria. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Have a good evening.